will say the ending to that 30-second video is not satisfying at all. It just gives up. It's like, yeah, here we go. Yeah, welcome everyone. XPN USA, episode 1. A smaller, bite-sized podcast, if you will, because it's 60 to 90 minutes. Not because we got nothing to talk about, more because I got WWE 2K23 installed, ready to go, and it launched 10 minutes ago.
Just calling.
I'm your host. Yeah, I'm your host, Jenna. We got Sentinel as our co-host with the most.
What's up, guys?
Lovely introduction of himself there. And our guest, Daft Praxis.
I don't introduce myself. I just look at the camera.
All we need.
Good. That's all you need.
You know what God gave you.
We don't talk about that. That's below the camera. We leave it alone, okay?
I think we discovered the name for that before the show, but I can't remember it now.
People keep asking about DP, and I said, no, it's Darth Praxis. Stop shortening it. It's a problem when you do that.
And we should be joined shortly by Uso Vinny, who is running on Hawaiian time from right here.
Oh, well. It's a piece of pineapple pie.
So, a little... we're not going to jump into like the news and what's been going on this week and all that stuff, because every podcast alive does that.
Yeah, who wants to?
I am going to stick to the traditional.
Mm-hmm.
What have we been playing? And let's start with you, Darth, because everyone who watches this channel has already heard me and Sentinel talk about this to death.
Yeah.
Well, they might get bored with me too. Mostly, I've been playing a lot. I mean, once I get hooked into a game, after a while, for a while, I get stuck on it, and I've been playing, believe it or not, Monster Hunter Rise for quite a while. I've got like 80 hours into that. I think I'm trying to keep building on it. It's one of those games. Monster Hunter World was one I played for quite a while. I got like 700 hours in that one, so that kind of gives you an idea what kind of time I can throw into a game of that sort. So, and then when I'm bored with that, I switch over to Modern Warfare 2 and kill some things for a while. So that's what I've been doing. Anytime there's a new game, I try to throw a couple minutes into it, but man, I haven't been able to pull away for a while. I'm about to the point to start getting into like Hi-Fi Rush and
Nice.
pouring some more time in Hogwarts. I just created a character, and that was about it.
Yeah, you always have those games on backup that you fall back to. So Fortnite and Halo Infinite are for me. I'll just jump back on and blast a lot of time with them. Saturday night I was on the community game night with J-Rock, and there was so many people we couldn't use Xbox Party Chat. We were on Discord chat, and it was just absolute bedlam. I don't know where he finds some of these people, but they are not right.
You get more than 16. I mean, all 16 people is all that the chat can handle. You get more than, up to 16 people. It's insanity. 3 people like us talking like this, that's one thing. You got like 8 or 10 people talking all at the same time. God, this is insane.
Yeah,
it was great though. I was saying to the guys earlier that he hosts his games night, which is great, and he fiddles with all like the filters. So sometimes you've got zero gravity, so you're flying across the map. Other times you've got like shotguns that'll kill you in one shot from halfway across the level, but you're moving like you're in treacle. And then we've got like the community maps that have been made on Forge. So ones that are based on Squid Games and stuff. Or there's one where it's like whack-a-mole, so you're all in a little bunker. If you crouch, you can't see each other. But when you stand up, there's 20 of you all next to each other in rows of like four rows of 5, and if you get a headshot, it'll pass through 5 people, so you'll get 5 kills at once with a sniper. So you're gonna bouncing up and down in bunkers trying to shoot people but not be shot at the same time. Forge has really saved that game. Great.
Oh my God. Yeah, I was gonna say it sounded like it's picked it up quite a bit.
Yeah, a lot. It's weird. They've even put the mirrors game in there from Squid Game. You know, when we got the 2 rows of mirrors, and if you jump to the left or the right and you pass through and smash the mirror if it's the wrong one. So you've got that. And there's 20 of us in there, and we're all like slowly waiting for somebody to go first. And when they die, that's the good one. You see everyone hopping over.
Keep going. Oh, that's cool.
You only get one life, so you're on a viewing panel then trying to watch the rest of them. And against the clock. It's great.
That actually sounds kind of awesome.
Yeah, it's good. Sentinel, what have you been watching? What have you been playing, not watching?
I actually been playing a lot of Division 2 on my PS5, and it's like there's it's like the Division franchise has good bones, I guess. You want to call it like, you say a house has good bones. Division 2 has good bones. It has a good structure to it. And it sucks, man, what Ubisoft is doing, how they just kind of said, oh, we're going to have like a super massive free-to-play fucking shit with Division. And it's like, we need a Division 3, right? And going back and playing Division 2, hell, sometimes I even go back and play Division 1.
Oh, Division 1 was my favorite, yeah.
Yeah, and I still go back and play it because it's such a badass game,
Yeah.
And it just, I'm a fan of the franchise. It sucks to see the shape it's in, but I've been going back through, playing it on Twitch, having a lot of fun with it. And then, of course, my other go-to is Grand Theft Auto 4, and I know I mentioned, see, the funny thing is I mentioned to Redders that every time I go back and play Grand Theft Auto 3, I get about 30 minutes into the game, and I'm like, why the hell am I playing this when I can play Grand Theft Auto 4 instead? And I immediately stop and go to Grand Theft Auto 4 instead. And he was like, oh, well, since you talked about Grand Theft Auto 3, I went back and I'm playing GTA 3 now. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess, I guess, But it's just because, like, you look at Grand Theft Auto 3, it takes place in Liberty City. I like Grand Theft Auto 4's Liberty City better. But right now there's no alternative for Vice City. So if I want to play a Grand Theft Auto game in Vice City, I can't play GTA 6. It's not out yet, so I gotta go back to Vice City. I got no choice. Yeah. So, but Grand Theft Auto 4, in my opinion, is one of the best just because it's still dark, it's still gritty, and it's not that, because like Grand Theft Auto 5 just doesn't feel like a Grand Theft Auto game.
Yeah.
There's no chop shops. Everything's bright and sunny, and you look at Grand Theft Auto 5 compared to San Andreas, and you can tell the difference. It's like GTA San Andreas is still about crime and gangs and all that shit, and Grand Theft Auto 5 isn't. It seems like the super hip, popular fucking version, and I'm like, I don't play a Grand Theft Auto game for that type of shit. I just don't. So I always go back to GTA 4, That's just how it is. Those are pretty much the two games that I've been playing, for the past week or so.
Yeah, I love GTA 4. When it first came out, the physics engine on it and the way the cars handled, where you couldn't just slam the trigger and go because it would wheel spin. You had to gently get the trigger, and when you crashed, bits of the car dented and certain windows would smash. Stupid stuff. But that game was amazing. It was so far ahead this time. But then GTA 5 came out, and it looks prettier, and it's a bigger world. But it seems like a lot of those cool things and features they put in were gone from GTA 4.
Yeah. They made it too big. They made it. They focused on just making it like, hey, let's make Far Cry the Grand Theft Auto game.
Yes,
and it's a great game in its own way for its own things, but it's not quite the same. It does feel different. My favorite was always Vice City, just because it had the whole '80s theme, and then it did an amazing job incorporating all that and making it dark and gritty, but totally hilarious too at the same time. And I think they took a lot from Vice City and tried to infuse it into 5, because 5 feels more like a spiritual successor to Vice City, but it's just not as good. It has a lot of the same humor beats and moments, but it doesn't quite hit the same way. So
yeah, I could see that. And one of my biggest complaints about GTA 5 is how many missions do you do in GTA 5 where you don't get paid a fucking thing for that shit? It's like Rockstar. You're not paying me out of your pocket. It's just like digital. This is digital fake money. Why am I doing all these missions and I don't get paid shit? Devin Weston. It's like, come on, man. Are you kidding me?
I can't say they don't know how to make games. They do know how to make games. It's just they sit on their fucking laurels so long and leave it. And they leave it for so terribly long that you're like, "Why do you guys do anything anymore? What do you do?" And then when they come up with a trilogy, they go, "Hey, let's tap that mobile team that did it for phones. Just let them do it. They'll just use that engine." Like, what? They're people that made patches that were able to make GTA 3 and Vice City and San Andreas using GTA 5. And I'm like, why couldn't you do that? Yeah, especially with Mafia Remaster, Mafia 2 and 3 Remaster. Yeah. Those games are amazing looking. And then they did that to GTA 5. You're like, what are you wasting time?
And especially look at Mafia 1, the complete remaster. Now, you remember the old one came out like 2000, 2001.
Oh, dude, it's an old game.
Yeah, but and look at how Mafia, the remake, is now. It's phenomenal.
It's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vice City Stories was great.
Yeah, and you know what? It kind of pissed me off because I was like, well, okay, fine. Because on Xbox, you can't really play Grand Theft Auto 3 or Vice City. So hopefully we'll see Vice City stories and Liberty City stories. But when it was met with the super negative reception, any plans for that shit just kind of went away. So now it's kind of like shit, The only place you can play it is like on a PS2 or a PS3. Kind of sucks.
Well, and there's something to think about too. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, Grand Theft Auto 5, we're waiting for a new one. I'm like, wait a minute, thinking about it. Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and frickin' San Andreas came out within like a 6-year span on the PS2.
Yeah.
The PS3 got it only because it came out right when the PS3 came out, when San Andreas came out. But that killed me thinking that we had 3 whole different games on one system on the PS2, and that now we had Grand Theft Auto 5 has spanned 3 consoles.
Yes.
Or 3 generations, let's put it that way, not consoles. 3 generations of consoles.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And they had other franchises they worked on too. 2 Smugglers Run games, 2 Manhunt games. They had Bully. They had the Warriors. How many Midnight Club games?
Oh God, there's a game. The Warriors is talk about a game that needs to be remastered. That's a freaking amazing game. that kills me too. And that was a PS2 game. Yeah. They went nuts on the PS2. They could not stop themselves.
Yes,
they did State of Emergency and that table tennis game as well, which were both amazing.
I have table tennis for the Wii, and that's a badass game.
Yeah.
I love that game.
It's just it's sad because it's like they pretty much did what Electronic Arts did and a whole bunch of these companies. Rather than keep pumping money into developing single player games, they said let's just milk the shit out of the online community. That's what it is.
Games is a service, and as much as I like Game Pass, I like it. I don't like the concept in a lot of ways because it's going to destroy retro gaming is what it's going to do. All the stuff I got on my shelf over there, that's great. But anything from the Xbox One, and I mean even like the 360 era in a lot of ways, but the Xbox One specifically and beyond, and PS4, most of those, I mean, there's games like, I was talking to somebody like Destiny and Destiny 2, eventually games of that sort that you have to be online to play. When they shut those servers down, there's no playing anymore. All the stuff you did, it's gone.
Yeah.
And somebody's like, oh, no, they're not going to do. Yeah, they'll do it someday when it gets like nobody wants to play or it's just, slow. And you're like, oh, I want to play it. Nope, can't play it anymore.
Because these companies, they have to spend money to keep those servers open.
Of course. Yeah. But they don't build it to where you can open it up in a single player platform. And, it would take a lot of work to rework it to do it. But yeah, it's neat for some of the concepts that they have, but it sucks when you realize, man, I'm not going to play some of these ever again. So it's kind of like, but oh well.
Yeah,
I mean, we traded all the way.
I think that's a big reason why a lot of people are investing in retro consoles. Like the Sega Saturn, the Sega Dreamcast, the GameCube. You got people still buying PS2s and PS3s because ultimately, a lot of these PS3 games they do have a multiplayer component, but you can play them offline. The Xbox 360, you can play these games offline. If it's not a game like MAG, which was a PS3 exclusive, which was multiplayer only, it's going to work offline. So it's like 2 generations ago and back. People can invest in those, and a lot of the games that they enjoyed for those consoles, they'll be able to play when these servers go offline. But like you said, PS4 generation onward, it's just not going to happen because now you have to register with a fucking server or some shit every time you want to play. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's curious. I mean, you have games that you own that are single player games that you might still be able to get some kind of concession from them to be able to utilize, but there's no guarantee of that either. So it's interesting. And Nintendo is about the only one left that's not doing it that way in most cases. So you get the games, you own the games, you can play the games. So I mean, they're the last of the last.
Yeah.
And even their next console is a question. No, they don't.
Nintendo doesn't understand that game prices should drop over time. It's like, here's my game. This is £70, and it just stays there forever.
Yeah, Thimber brought up a good point. He was talking about Rockstar scrapped everything on Bully 2. Yeah. And that's kind of interesting because they actually disclosed this afterwards, that the conversation system they had designed for Bully 2, they used for Red Dead Redemption 2. So it's like they were already planning on making Bully 2, but then out of nowhere they're like, well, let's just scrap this project and move everything to Red Dead Redemption 2 instead, and use some of the systems that we had planned for this game that people want for Red Dead Redemption 2. And I'm not saying RDR2 is a bad game, but I'm just saying Rockstar Games, you know how we said, well, they had so many projects within a short time frame. Now they're picking one and prioritizing that and kind of leaving the rest behind. And that's not the right answer, especially when Grand Theft Auto Online made them over $6 billion. $6 billion. And that's the online component. That's not Grand Theft Auto 5 sales. That's just for online microtransactions like shark cards and shit like that. So they have the money to make a proper Bully 2, to bring back Smuggler's Run, to bring back Manhunt, to, make that Warriors remake. They have the money
to do
for that.
everything. They have enough money to do everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of resources too. They've got a lot of resources, but it's just like they're not using any of it. Like I said, sitting on their laurels. I'm being nice. It's annoying to see what they're doing, and like
then
the
Red Dead community. I mean, look at them. They completely neglected them.
Yep. Yeah. They totally abandoned them in favor of Grand Theft Auto 5, a game that had been out forever already. People are like, what are you doing? And then the trilogy was. It was a slap in the face. I considered that. I was like, it was so buggy. It had so many problems, and it just looked like crap. I was playing. They had, I think, San Andreas was on Game Pass for a little while, and I played it. I'm like, what is this? Oh my god, this is terrible looking. And then I found out it was based on the mobile code, and I was just disgusted. Like, God, why did you do that? But it is what it is.
Well, and it's like
had the awful rain.
Oh, there was that.
Oh my god, that was terrible.
I think it was Grand Theft Auto 3.
It was actually it was everything. It was San Andreas did it too. When
That's true.
You're walking outside, it started raining. Yeah, it was. My daughter was like, "Dad, I can't even watch this. It's terrible." It was horrible.
Yeah. Well, the running joke, and I tell my wife this all the time. I say, a game company that has 800 people that went to college for this shit will release a game, broke as hell, and it'll take someone that works part-time as a manager at a fucking AutoZone or some shit to come in, and for 3 hours, he can fix whatever they couldn't fix in like 8 or 9 months. And that's how it is.
That's because he was
and
better
Rockstar
trained.
will sue them and make them take down the unofficial patches that they've put on.
Right? Hey, Bethesda supports those type of people, though. Bethesda supports them. They appreciate it.
Yeah. Really, we didn't buy enough shark cards to warrant a GTA 6. It's on us. It's our fault.
Yeah, right.
We need to do better.
So it's like Grand Theft Auto 5 allowed all the executives to live like they're living in Vice City in the 80s. Driving around in Lamborghinis and shit. Great.
10 pounds of coke on their desks. Yeah, you know how it goes.
Yeah. It's like they made so much money. Tony Montana gave up being a coke dealer and he became an executive for Rockstar Games. He's like, that's how I can make more money. Forget the cocaine.
You know how I can make more money? I'll show you. Shark cards.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I touched on something you mentioned earlier, Sentinel, about the Red Dead Redemption games. I still haven't finished Red Dead Redemption 2. The Red Dead Redemption 2, Red Dead Redemption, the first one, when that came out, I played it religiously. I finished the game and I kept playing it, even after I finished, to explore the world, to find more random stuff, to do side things. That game was amazing. Number 2, whilst I've played it a lot, I feel like I'm not in the world. I feel like I'm looking at something beautiful that's been made. When I played number 1, it's like you're in the world and everything is real and you're discovering it for yourself.
It just didn't draw you in as much, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, apart from the bit we go to the bar with Lenny, that was fantastic.
Yeah,
did you see when they put the remaster, the up-res version on Xbox again for the Series X?
Yeah,
they upped it to 4K. Yeah, the original Red Dead Redemption, they upped it to 4K. It's not like it's gotten higher textures, but it's 4K resolution now, so it's like crisp, super crisp. It's amazing to play. I started. Yeah, there you go. I started playing it again. I'm like, oh my god, this was a great game. I love this one.
That's one of my go-to games. It's like in my top 10. Those games that you play multiple times a year. Oh, yeah. Red Dead Redemption 1 is one of those games.
It's a great game. It's such a good game. Apart from spoilers for anyone who hasn't played it, you should have by now. when he dies and then you take over as his son his voice does my head in, so I can't. I can't keep
You're like,
playing.
no.
Oh,
Well,
here he is.
I kind of feel like it was a missed opportunity with part 1, because his son is he's of legal age in 1917, right? He's 17 in 1917 or some shit. So it's like that's right at the start of World War One, and you hear about like stories about guys that were like outlaws and shit going over to fight World War One, and they had to fight the enemy unconventionally. There you go. That would have been a perfect fucking Red Dead Redemption 2.
It's mad to think the cowboys were still around at the time of World War One. It just seems like two different, especially being from the UK. It seems like two different eras that should have been 100 years apart. Then you hear, oh no, they were around at the same time. In Europe, we had tanks and all this shit, and we were developing trench warfare. In America, we had rustlers with the 6-shooters from their hips and all that.
I mean that's because once you get like west of the Mississippi, a lot of that out there was just almost untamed, Oh
yeah.
Yeah, but it's like they capture that really well in Red Dead Redemption 1. In RDR 2, it's like it was a beautiful game. It ran phenomenally, but it just wasn't a hell of a lot of fun, Especially you had to maintain the camps. You had to bring in supplies and stuff, and it's like it just sucked all the fun out of the fucking premise,
Sometimes less is more.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, just to capitalize on you bringing it up, Wyatt Earp died in 1929.
Yeah,
the actual person.
Yeah.
So people that were actually actors in Hollywood who had grown up around this, this legend and knew him, were there at his funeral, and so that kind of shows how much it went into the 20th century. So you were like, oh, it's World War One, but it went into the Great Depression. It's kind of crazy. So very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the next.
I love watching Deadwood. It's one of my TV programs I go back to all the time.
Oh yeah,
such a good show, and it's incredible to think that was a real place, and a lot of the characters and in the story, they're real people. It's all based on.
Oh yeah, there were a lot of real people.
Yeah, I'm sure that not the storylines are all real. I'm sure they used some artistic license on some bits of it.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if the way that certain things happened. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened like that back then too. If crazy shit happened, because all the books, they sanitize everything that can possibly be sanitized to make things. Oh, it was really different back then, but in a lot of ways, it was just as bad or worse. And so I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, the way they talked, it was probably quite a bit different than what it sounded like in New York of like 2000.
History books do that. They either make things seem like they were incredible and it was the best time to be alive in history, or it was the most deadly, awful, terrible time you do not want to exist. Like they talk about the Dark Ages in the UK, and if you went outside your village, there was people on the roads waiting to murder you, and blah blah blah. Oh, okay, but there was loads of traders who'd go between villages and cities to keep the food and keep everything going. It's like, but how? I thought they would die as soon as they left the gates.
Yeah, what the
how
hell?
did they go and trade? This is very confusing.
Jeez.
And they all drank mead because the water was dirty, so we had loads of pissed kids running around the villages.
Damn right. I'd be all for that. Thank you.
Wow. That's funny.
Unfortunately, I just ran out.
Is that what you left? Is that what you left earlier?
No.
Oh, okay.
Maybe. A little bit.
And to have something.
Well, there's nothing like a 2 a.m. drink in the UK to, tip you
Son
over.
of a bitch. Gotta massage that liver somehow.
I work nights. So like it's something I've started doing the last few months. So I do 8 p.m. through to 8 a.m. So this is the time I should be up anyway. But the company I work for, we deal with people in America. And oh my God, some Americans are fantastic. Some of them are fantastic. They all seem to be from around Alabama and Illinois and stuff like that. And just the best.
There's a mix. Yeah.
Yep.
It's
beautiful. That's like oil and water right there.
It can be.
Yeah. Yeah, the Americans are funny, man. I enjoy speaking to them. They're great.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Not you, but the others.
Everybody else is interesting. You're an asshole. Yeah, I appreciate that. Fucker.
So we were going to jump into a topic or two, but we've waffled on about GTA somehow,
I have.
which is fine.
I have no idea, Sentinel. How'd we do that?
I have no idea. Yeah, that's all the host's fault. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I'm not a good host. Let's get that out of the way straight away. Episode 1, I'm awful. So a topic I really wanted to touch on. So as I said, this will be a shorter show. But one thing I wanted us all to discuss instead of my console has 6 pixels more than yours at 2 frames a second, and what do we think? Well, the RDNA wasn't there, and instead let's celebrate gaming. So I wanted it to be a game that is our goat or has personal value to us. And I'll lead by example by putting Sentinel first.
Oh, there we go.
Wow.
Delegation.
I
I'll
mean,
delegate.
you could have our guest go first. I mean, that would be,
I can-
that'd be
I
cool.
can-
If he's ready to go, we'll chuck him in the deep end.
Chuck him in the deep end. Nah, no paddle, no water wings, asshole. Thank you. I'll just take off, I guess. No, probably great. One of my favorite franchises of all things, and it's totally different from what most people play, is the Monkey Island franchise. That's one I grew up on in high school playing the most because, I had NES and Genesis when I was in high school. That was what came out, and so I got Curse of Monkey Island was my favorite of all of them. That was probably the best that it ever got. So. Excellent game. I just re-downloaded it again. My wife, every time I bring it up with her and my kids they all want to play it. So it's one of those ones that everybody just kind of gravitates around. Great writing, great humor, great voice acting. I mean, it was a Lucas Arts game, so they utilize voice talent from their animated studios. So several of the voices, the guy that did Scrooge McDuck did several of the voices in the game. So I mean, it gives you a whole broad range of what they used to do when they made games really good at Lucasfilm. And excellent game. Some of the ones that followed it, even the newest one is kind of, it's all right. And the art style with the newest thing they brought out is like fucking disgusting. I don't know what they did with that. But yeah, no, one of my favorites of all time, of all things, a point and click. Just a fun game.
They were awesome games. A great little series. Yeah. I'm sure Sentinel's about to jump in and tell us why we're wrong and GTA 4 is better.
Damn right.
No, I mean everyone has their everyone has a game that's important to them. It's important in their journey as a gamer. You play one of these games, especially when it resonates with you from early on, and you enjoy it throughout the years. It helps you form your opinions on what you like in gaming and maybe what you don't like.
Yeah,
it's cool.
That's for sure.
I often find myself like having a game that kind of defines each console as I've grown up. Whenever I think about a certain console, there's a game that I go to. So for me, like the SNES was Street Fighter 2 to the point where I've got it, tattooed on me now. And then the Dreamcast, like this over your shoulder, that was Shenmue 2. That's just one of the greatest games ever made.
Shenmue, both of those games are amazing.
I bought number 3 on my PS5 and I haven't played it because I heard it's so bad, but I've got it just in case one day.
I would play it anyway. I mean, screw what people say. You gotta try it.
Yeah,
I want to dive back in. There's a few other games I want to get through, but I just don't want to ruin the memories of the first 2 games of playing this third one.
Right.
What did I do? And same again. Like GameCube, you got Wind Waker, which is one of the best games ever made. It's fantastic. And Pikmin. As a rare console where I have 2. I'm like, Pikmin as well. My God. Either of you ever played a Pikmin game?
I have Pikmin 3. I've played Pikmin 3 all the way through with my daughter. And so, great, freaking amazing game. I played the first one a little bit, but not very much. And actually, of all things, I bring LucasArts into it again. They're, come on. What is it? Rebel... Was it Rebel? Oh God, I can't think of the name of the game. Why can't I think of that? No, Rogue Squadron. The Rogue Squadron games were incredible. They totally captured flying, and I think they did it better than some of the newer ones. And they were able to really make it thematic and very cinematic, and you felt like you were in the moment. You were doing everything, and they took things like the Star Wars game from the N64, and they were able to reinvent it completely and make it so much more amazing and do things
Yeah.
so much better. And then that whole series was just incredible. Another on the GameCube, there were 3 games on the GameCube they brought out, and it's a series that needs to be brought back to life again. Didn't they say? Did they say they were going to make something like that for a while? I can't remember. I thought they said
They
something
did it on
about that.
was it the Xbox One? There was a Rogue Squadron game, wasn't there?
It was Star Wars Squadrons, right? It came out recently.
Yeah. It was pretty good.
A couple years ago.
Star Wars Squadrons. It's
Not as good as the old ones.
Didn't have the same feeling now.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan in the world, but some of those games on the N64 were incredible. The ones where you shot the cable out the back and got the AT-AT or whatever they're called, AT-AT around the ankle, and you got to circle them and it trips them over. Oh my god!
Oh, Shadows of the Empire. That's what you're talking about.
Shadows of the Empire was awesome because it actually tried to do something totally new, and it was interesting. Did a good job with it, yeah. But they took what you did in that, and they reimagined it in Rogue Squadron. It was incredible. It was like, oh my god, it's so much better, but it's the same thing. It's that same feeling. Yeah, it was really cool.
Nice. I know Jenna doesn't like Star Wars. He likes Star Trek, where they run around in pajamas and shoot people with TV remotes. Get the fuck out of here. Yep, I know.
Just very sad.
I do like Star Trek, yeah, especially Next Generation, where nothing really happens, but it's interesting.
Yep.
we don't really get anywhere, but we just fly around all the time and tell
Captain's
stories.
log. Here's another day where nothing really happens. Watch for the next hour.
Hey, they just watched the Discovery Channel. That's actually what's on the TV, that they're all flying around the galaxy.
Yeah, I think the people who run the History Channel now must have watched a lot of Star Trek when they were younger, because there's not much history.
No,
It's mostly just crazy sci-fi shit.
Yep.
all the alien stuff. That's all relevant now, though, right?
Yeah.
The mothership is watching, apparently.
Oh, Jesus.
Why not? I mean, what else is there to tick off in the 2000s? What else is left?
Yeah, the mothership will show up and say, "Hey, CMA, if you don't approve the ABK deal, we're going to vaporize Earth." And they're like, "All right, fine."
God!
It's like humanity's doing too well at the game, and Earth is like, right, we just need more shit. Gotta up the difficulty.
Like when you
You
think you defeat the boss and it has the other health bar out of nowhere, and you're like, "Motherfucker, that's not fair." Yeah, that's pretty much what's happening.
The fucking sun transforms into an end boss from Elden Ring. You're like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
Like, okay, we didn't need that kind of difficulty. Stop it.
Yeah, right. Ridiculous.
Speaking of end bosses who transform, I've been trying to beat Wulong, and I say trying. I haven't played it this last week where I've been working, but I've done about 5.5 hours. Really good game, considering I still haven't beat the first boss. I can beat his first stage without him. I can beat the first stage of the boss, and you get to him in in the first 20 minutes or so. So it's not like it's a long time that I've been playing the game. I've just been grinding, leveling myself up to go back and fight him, and I can beat his first stage without taking a single hit. That second stage of him is kicking my ass to the point where I'm not even close to beating him.
Stomping a mud hole in you, huh? You're like, oh my god, I gotta go away.
Yeah, luckily the gameplay holds up. Otherwise, I'd have give up. Because I imagine beyond it, it's going to be fantastic.
You didn't do what I did with Elden Ring, which was just walk away, drop my controller, go.
Maybe if I haven't beat him after 20 hours, I might walk away.
I got time for a game. I just don't have. I mean, I put a lot of time in Monster Hunter. I just can't put that much time in a game where I'm not making any progress. I'm like, forget it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have one game that you're able to play for fucking 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then you have time to invest in that. But like, if you have 10 or 20 games that you're like, well, I could play this instead. I mean, it makes no sense to keep trying,
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
We could always start bringing up my Destiny hours and then really make everybody go, what the fuck is wrong with them? I haven't even gotten the new DLC because it's like a fucking heroin addiction. I want to stay away from that shit. I'm done.
Yeah, I heard some people saying the new DLC is like not that good.
The people
maybe that'll help you break the habit if you play it. You'd be like,
I looked at the main villain that's supposed to be the big bad of the whole series. Essentially, is what that comes down to. It's what the darkness was. And I'm going, oh fuck! It just doesn't look. It looks like, was that an afterthought? Did somebody have a fucking like a LSD trip and go, that's it, there's the boss? Like, what the hell is that shit? And like I said, I between Destiny 1 and 2, I calculated the hours. I think it was something along the lines of 2,000 hours.
Jesus.
So that's a lot of time in those games. And I'm going, man, I don't want to go back to that. I put too much. People are like, why are your achievements? You've been, I've been Xbox Live 16 years. And they're like, I have like 35,000 on my achievements. They're like, why is it so low? That I play games like that where I've done the achievements and it just stops and I just keep playing, and they're like, that doesn't make sense. And it does.
Yeah, I'm the same. I play a lot of online games and they don't give you achievements.
Call of Duty or anything like that. You play that for a long time. Yeah, there's nothing. They don't give you any extra shit. And you're like, oh.
My wife loves Call of Duty, so whenever she's online, I'm on Call of Duty because let's jump online together with your mates.
Says, come on, babe. I just want to kick your ass in front of them. That's all.
There's some games where she does, and other games where I'm ahead, and I'm like, do you see how good I was? Do you see that?
My jam used to be Battlefield 4, and I probably have 3,000 hours in that. But I played it for years. It's like I played it on both Xbox One and PS4. I bought it for both. So I maxed out my level on Xbox 140 rank, and then I went on PlayStation, maxed out my rank 140. I love that game, But it's because the online was so badass. It was so fun to play. That's why I spent so many hours. And of course with Destiny, it's the same way,
Yeah. Oh yeah. But it keeps going.
It's like a single player game. It's hard to be spending like over 1,000 hours.
Oh, no. Well, I would say Monster Hunter is the closest it can do that. But I still, like I said, 6 was tied between the Xbox One and for Monster Hunter World, Xbox One and PS4, because I had a friend who had a PS4 and she only had that and she wanted to play with me on there. And so I had to jump on that and I put another 100 hours into the game just there. So I was like, just keeping up with her, catching up, bringing the character up, and then helping her work through it. But I like games like that because I get online and I can actually go in and help people, like finish a boss off. So I enjoyed doing that, like getting in, helping out, and then coming out. So it's like fulfilling. I get a little reward out of it. Destiny, I kind of did that a little bit too because I was involved with several groups that would do raids, but the raids, it's like slamming your balls in a fucking door is what it is. Sometimes you're like.
So how many expansions came out for Destiny 1?
Destiny 1?
Yeah. How many expansions?
I want to say it was 5. I think it was.
And how many expansions so far have come out for Destiny 2?
Oh, dude, not very many.
Well, I mean, just like a ballpark figure.
I'm just trying to think of Destiny 2. Actually, it's probably almost 5 enough. No, there's 4. 5. There might be 5 now.
So when did Destiny 1 come out? I know it came out the PS3 generation.
2014.
So
Destiny 2 came out in 2017.
So it came out roughly at the same time as Grand Theft Auto 5, yet they produced like 50 times more fucking content. It's ridiculous.
It is, and they did something a little screwy with the first game that pissed a lot of people off, made them walk away. Was they took story like out of the game and then they put it online where you have to you get these little things. Yep. And you go, oh, where do you find out about that? Oh, you just go to their website and you just get on there, and after a while you'll find it. Just look around. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
I gotta look online.
Yeah.
And could you have it to where a character like says like this is an amazing weapon and you can get it? No, you gotta read it. I'm like, oh god, dude, this is annoying. Yeah. It's like an encyclopedia. It's like a Wikipedia page. I'm like, oh, fucking great. That's neat.
I guess PlayStation is lucky that they got Bungie before, because it's like Bungie used to be with Activision. They split from Activision. Mm-hmm. I guess they're lucky that they got Bungie, after they split rather than, Microsoft picking them up or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? I think Bungie's better on their own. But it's funny that Bungie comes in the door with PlayStation and they already know their bullshit. And they're like, nope, we're gonna stay multi-platform. You have to agree to this, otherwise there's no deal. Because they knew the PlayStation would be like, oh no, Destiny, all future content's going to be PlayStation only. They said, nope. They came in the door already knowing the bullshit. And they said, nope, multi-platform only, or we walk. And PlayStation's like, fuck. Only. Yeah.
I am excited about Starfield. I'm actually excited to play something. It's just it's a little different. It's a slower kind of focus than like Destiny. It's not. Yeah. It's a little more grounded feeling. It has a little more realistic There might even be powers or whatever, who knows, but it's not going to be kind of the same as Destiny, even though Destiny, in my opinion, I've explained it to someone who's a huge Halo fan. I said it's the evolution of the Halo control scheme. It is the further evolution of that control, because they took the control that you had in Halo and then they elevated it with like flight and all the crazy things you can do, all your powers. And it just made it, in my opinion, made it more amazing. And that's what really drew me in about it. I'm like, oh, fuck. The gameplay was incredible. The gunplay is some of my favorite gunplay of all time. I'd say The Division matched it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The level of customization and what you can do with your guns in The Division, it exceeds a lot of what you can do in Destiny. With Destiny's, there's something about how special the guns feel that is different than most any other game I've ever played. And then when you get your super, you get your exotic guns that you can't get, and you get some certain things they can do. It just is something about it that's unique and special to that. And The Division took a lot of that and infused that into the first and the second game in a lot of parts. Got some pretty cool guns like that. But I miss that. I miss that kind of feeling. It's like,
yeah, no, I get it. The Destiny 2 gunplay is real solid. It's just, it's a multiplayer game, and it's like anymore. It's like I really ask myself whether I have the time to devote myself to a game like that, because it's like that's not the type of game that you just pick up and play. You really want to devote time to it, so you can appreciate it.
To get into it, yeah. For me, I got so used to playing it. For me, I mean, obviously, I put so many hours into it. When I got into the multiplayer, it was like picking up Call of Duty for me, like Modern Warfare 2 or 2019. I can pick it up, play it for an hour, and put it back down. I'd do the same thing with Destiny 2. If I wanted to, I'd jump right in, play a couple of matches, jump out, because you can just play the multiplayer, get in and out, and it's no big deal. I don't mind that. So. Yeah, I used
to play Call of Duty 2019 religiously, but it just got to where it's like the servers. It felt like Activision was prioritizing the new releases.
Yeah, they didn't give a shit.
Yeah,
and things started falling apart. The minute the Cold War came out, within 6 months of it, not even 6 months, within 3 months of it coming out, 2019 servers, you started having to where you'd have multiplayer maps crash. And it would come up. I'm like, what's going on? And I spent like 2 weeks sending messages to them to get it back up and running.
And they just don't care.
Yeah. Well, they didn't care. And then finally somebody sent a message back. Oh, yeah, we're working on it. We're aware of the problem, but we don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and it's like I really enjoyed 2019, but then Cold War comes out, and I was like, I'm just not digging Cold War,
Cold War was okay. It changed the gunplay. It was a different developer, so it had a different feel to it. And then Vanguard was different again. Yeah. And then they started focusing on some aspects of it where Modern Warfare 2 actually brought it back. So I think it's actually much more like 2019 now. I like it better.
Except how you upgrade the weapons. The upgrade weapons are fucking crazy.
The clusterfuck of weapon upgrade. I can unlock this scope if I get this gun to this point, but then this gun, and what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, basically,
who created that?
To keep it simple, a gun that's completely unrelated, you got to get like 60 kills with it to unlock a scope for a different weapon, and then you have to get 30 kills with it to unlock this fucking silencer, and you're like, who fucking designed this shit? It makes no sense.
Well, no, it makes sense. I talked to somebody, and it does make sense. It's stupid, but it makes sense from a standpoint of wanting everyone to spend as much time in multiplayer to unlock all of the guns. Otherwise, you can't unlock everything. So you have to fucking pour that time into it, unlock it all. And I still fucking don't have it all unlocked because I have to do the shield, the knife, the rocket launchers.
It was Dara O'Brien, who's a UK comedian, and he was on about Beatles Rock Band before. Mm-hmm. And one of the things he said was he bought the game, but he couldn't get past a certain song. But then half the game is then missing to him. So he's like, I've paid for the content. Give me my fucking content. I've paid for these songs. Let me have these songs. And that's what it is in Call of Duty. It's like, you paid for all of this, but we're going to make it as hard as possible to get what you've paid for. Enjoy yourself.
Well, and that's another statement about the modern gaming dynamic versus the old school gaming dynamic, where when you buy a game, you own the game and you play the game and you get all the way through it. And if you want to play any more of that game, you either play the game again or you wait for the sequel. I mean, pretty much that's how it works.
It's hard to go back to old gaming. We've got so used to it. Like when you saw what happened with Halo Infinite when it didn't release new maps or modes and stuff. Halo
people
1
were
and
like,
2
"That's it,
and
I'm
all,
out." Gone.
Halo 1 and 2, they put out the game, and then for ages you'd wait for like a couple of maps, maybe in 6 months, and people would just play it and play it and play it and be happy. And now it's this week's challenges, I don't really like them, so I'm going to leave the game alone this week.
Yeah.
It's our mindset is so different. I find myself doing it. I'll chuck on some games and I'll be like, oh, I've done everything this week.
Yeah.
And I'm just playing. And I'm like, well, I'm not really getting anything. It's like the dopamine hit is missing. I'm not being rewarded. I just move on to something else, you know?
Got to get that morphine button working again.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm better now.
Yeah. Oh, I've earned blue on something I was never going to equip. I've achieved so much in my life this week. Right, on to the
I'm
next
good now, Daddy.
Back in the day, me and my mates, it was me and two of my mates, and we played Football Manager on the Xbox 360, because once you got used to the controls, it was so fast to play compared to a mouse and keyboard, even though everyone hated the controls. If you spent some time with it, it was actually better. But we spent hundreds of hours every weekend. We'd go over Friday nights to my mate's house. Me and my other mate would end up just crashing over on the sofa, passed out all weekend, and then go back Sunday night to be ready for work on Monday. And we would order pizzas, we'd drink, we'd have a smoke, and we'd play Football Manager all weekend and just have a laugh. And it was the best. It was just such good times. And then if we did try to do that today, people would be like, oh, but where's the patches? Why don't the guys upgrade at the end of the season? Where's this? You know, and it was just basic. That could be why I did to WWE 2K23, like in 22 last year, the GM mode. It's basically Football Manager, but with wrestlers.
Oh, that's cool.
I like that.
That's cool. Yeah, we did that. We did that back in the day with freaking what was it, Revenge of Shinobi on the Genesis. My buddies and I'd go because it was so fucking hard. It's a hard, difficult game to play through. We stayed up for like, it was like all night and then all day the next day playing it and basically taking turns trying to finish the game. Finally finished the game, but I mean, between that and then doing the same thing, like eating pizza, watching movies, like renting a movie and sitting watching it and then going back up and doing it. And
yeah,
it was a blast doing stuff like that. Shoot, my dad started that crap back in the 2,650, 200 days playing football with my uncle and my cousins with, you know, an X and an O with a dot going between them. So
nice.
My parents used to borrow my Mega Drive to go play Arnold. Is it Arnold Palmer his name?
Arnold Palmer's Tournament Golf. Yeah.
What a game. A fantastic golf game. They would borrow take it to the neighbor's house who, like, you know, none of them are gamers really, and they would take my Mega Drive, that one game, and they would take it to the neighbor's house, all get pissed and play golf game together.
My dad and my uncle did that with Wii Sports Golf. When it came out, they were like, yep, and they just playing it, and then they got so into it with that they bought the Tiger Woods Wii game, and they were fucking like masters at that game. I was like, oh my god.
Nice.
Loved it.
The Wii was a phenomenon. It brought so many people who weren't into or used to be into gaming back into gaming.
It was a cool concept.
They had the Wii Fit thing too, you know. Got people active.
Yeah. I got the board. I got the whole thing. But the problem is, so that was a double-edged sword. That was a double-edged sword for the whole industry and for Nintendo, really. I mean, Nintendo is where they are with the Switch because of the Wii, and it's because the Wii should have been, or because the Switch should have been, is what the Wii U should have been, I should say. And that's what I was expecting the Wii U to be. I was like, oh, great. It's a portable system. No, you can't take it any further than the base console. And I'm like, that's a dumb idea. Why did they put it all in the handheld? That would have been something. But couldn't do it at the time.
Yeah, but had that amazing zombie game.
Oh, the Zombie U, which is Zombie, I think you can get on the Xbox now.
It's not as good on other consoles, because when you had it on the Wii U, to undo padlocks.
You had to do all the stuff.
Look at that screen, and then you had the screen there with the zombies. Say when you were sniping, you'd be looking at your controller, but on the main screen, zombies would be walking at you, and just fantastic.
There's some games that'll never be able to be redone, like Wonderful 101, which you had to do certain shapes to do the special moves as you're fighting, and it's this crazy fighting game, and you're doing all these things it was nuts trying to do that stuff. It was difficult to play that game. But anyway, crazy stuff. It's amazing. But they went. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
No,
I was gonna say that that's what separates Nintendo. You know, because they're always trying new shit. You know.
Blue Ocean, their Blue Ocean concepts are like, we have to try new things nobody's ever tried, and I get it, but at the same time, it's also something. It's a double-edged sword because now they're in a place where they made a console, and in truth, in my perspective, they made the Switch far underpowered. They should have waited another year and brought that thing out with something that was twice as powerful as it is now, and it would have at least been able to do some more things. And then in the midst of all that turmoil and people, they're working on a Switch Pro. They were working on a Switch Pro, and they dumped it. Like, we can't do that. Why? And it was going to have everything they were talking about. Somebody said it had the DLSS that could upscale to 4K. It did all of it. And then we're like, nah, we're just not going to do it. I'm like, what?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's exactly. It kills me to know that they did that. They just walked away from it because they were like, oh, no, we're making too much money. And then now they're like, oh, well, now nobody wants to make anything for us because it's too hard. Now it's difficult. Like, a lot of people are saying, people are a little short-sighted. They're saying, the Nintendo deal for 10 years with, that Microsoft made for Call of Duty, if they get it. How's that going to work? I said, well, in a year, the fucking Switch is gone. So it's going to be the next console. It's not going to be the Switch. Switch might get it, but I doubt it. The Switch might get the mobile version. Doom Eternal. Oh, Doom Eternal works. It does. It does about 25, 30 frames per second. Yeah. And it looks pretty damn good. Yeah. And so does The Witcher 3. It actually runs at like 720p, but it runs and it's functional. You can play the game. So it's amazing what they've been able to do. So I don't think it's impossible, but yes, it would be a much scaled down version of the game.
Yeah,
that's what you expect. So
a lot of them stream it, don't they?
Yeah, people would play the shit out of it though. If it was like Modern Warfare 2, they'd play the shit out of that.
People running around in Mario skins, they'd love it.
Like they used to do with was it Soul Calibur, where they did like Zelda skins for the characters. Yeah.
Oh, what would be great? All you need to do to print money if you're Nintendo is say, all right, cards can come, but we're releasing a Waluigi skin. And all those toxic griefing players will line up around the block to buy a...
Yeah, Wario and Waluigi have those two characters and then bring Luigi and Mario out later and then have one of the chicks as Peach. There you go. Yeah. You do all of those as like the 5 characters that they could have those costumes on, and they have crazy weapons that like shoot mushrooms and shit out and stars. People would be like, yes, they'd go crazy.
Well, they had the mode, didn't they, where King Kong and Godzilla was invading the island. You just put Bowser in and Donkey Kong. Jobs are good. Print more money.
Oh my God. Yeah, it would be money. They would just make money like crazy. Activision would just keep it. Oh my God, keep doing it. Yes.
Yeah. Microsoft, we were going to move you on to other games and bring back Spyro, but fuck Spyro. Keep printing money with Nintendo over there. You do what you need to do.
Oh my! Well, with the number of consoles, I have to say that if they were able to shoehorn it somehow on there, with the number of consoles the Switch has, it's got I think the most of any company this generation right now. If they were able to shoehorn it on there and get it on there as a last hurrah for the Switch and got it working, not saying that that's going to happen, it would, like you said, it would print money if they did crap like that. And they were like, we're making this specially for the Switch. And people are like, what? I can play as Waluigi and all this and do this. Oh my God, we're doing it. Yes. Donkey Kong, what the hell? It'd be great.
It's almost like Nintendo doesn't like money, because they're like, NES Mini, everybody loves it. Oh, we're only going to make a certain amount. Super NES Mini, everybody loves it. We're only going to make a certain amount.
Limited quantity.
Oh, Nintendo 64 Mini, you guys want it? No, we're not going to make it. It's like, you guys fucking serious? You guys are in the top of the food chain, and it's like you have the ability to make these and make a shitload of them. So do it and print that goddamn money. But nope, they don't want to do it. I don't know.
The killer for me that destroyed it for me with the Switch. It really pissed me off with this aspect of it was they got rid of the Virtual Console for no reason whatsoever. Yeah. The Virtual Console was just money making itself, because instead of people and it was keeping people from getting the games on emulators for PC. They were like, I'll just buy it on my Wii or my Wii U and I'll just keep playing them forever.
And I had so many games through the Virtual Console for the Wii.
And they didn't transfer.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing. You spent all that money, you got it all. Yeah. I have my Wii and Wii U. They're all full of games and can't do a damn thing with them.
I spent like $500 on the Virtual Console with Indiana Jones Greatest Adventures for the Super Nintendo, Final Fight 3, Pilot Wings, all these great games from the Super Nintendo, from Nintendo were on there, even Nintendo 64. And you're exactly right. They're like, nah. We're just
Well,
not going to transfer it. And it's like,
well,
oh
the
my God.
one of their excuses was like, well, it's difficult making it work on the new consoles. All you got to do is go talk to the 3 top emulator designers, hire them.
Yeah.
Hire them as Nintendo employees and have them work on the Switch versions and transfer all those games onto the Switch, and they do it. Instead, they create the new thing where it's like, hey, we have this online, and then you get a handful of games. Here you go. Aren't you happy? You're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
And fortunately,
And it's it's like you look at some of the prices of these Nintendo and Super Nintendo games. It's crazy. Like some of them will go for $200 or $300 on eBay, but you can buy it through the virtual or you could buy it through the virtual console for like $10 or $15. I don't even remember what it was. I think it was like $8, $10, something like that for Super Nintendo games, which isn't bad. Yeah.
jeez.
I loved my Wii. I loved having my little Wii. It was
I liked.
fun.
You know what? I liked Sports Resort. Sports Resort was so much damn fun.
Yeah. I played My Sims on there. Some of the shit you could design and the little village you could build. I was like, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
But then about
Oh,
8
yeah.
months later, I was like, I don't like this anymore. I just want a controller. I'm never playing it. I'm on my 360 all the time. It's there gathering dust. I'm just going to sell it. And then off it went. Yeah. And then
Damn you! No.
I remembered I had all those GameCube games and I got rid of my GameCube and I was like, oh, what a fucking idiot. I can't even play them because I got rid of my Wii.
Yeah.
Well, my wife, one of her favorite games was Zack and Wiki, which was an old Capcom game that was just a puzzle game. That's all it was. It was silly. It was very Japanese. It didn't sell a huge number, but it was a great game. And it was another point and click style game. And she just loved it. And it got her into games. Like I got her in playing, what is it? There's an old Lucasfilm game called The Dig, which was a point and click game. Then it was Curse of Monkey Island. And then that. And she played the hell out of those games. Like wouldn't stop playing them. She's like, let's play it again. I'm like, shit, yeah, let's do it.
Amazing.
Yeah, well.
I used to play, what was it called? Battle Corps on the N64 religiously. I loved that game. And my mates would look at me playing it like, what's the point in this game? Like, what are you doing? Oh, there's a
Blowing
nuclear
shit
missile
up.
that can only go in a straight line. So I've got to destroy everything in the world that stops it from being able to go in a straight line. Like, that's
Yeah.
so fucking stupid. It's like, yeah, but it's amazing. It's,
Yeah,
it's the best. I'm a robot
I
jumping on
I was-
buildings. Look at me.
I was at the E3 in '96 when that was released, and they showed that one. That was Mario. Was it Mario 64 was shown? That was shown. I was trying to remember. There was a couple. There was like 5 games I think they showed that you could play on the show floor, and I got to play that, and that was crazy. It was like, this is what a kooky game, and it got to be a lot of fun. I'm like, man, this is a great little game.
Great. I had
Yeah.
it with my parents bought me my N64 for Christmas, and that was one of the games that came with it. But I was so excited for some of the other games, and I was like, oh yeah, and I saw that, and I was like, and then I ended up putting it on like towards the end of Christmas Day, and that was it for the next few days, just
You're like,
playing
that's
it
it.
over and
Playing
over and
that.
over. Yeah,
Yeah.
a loop, and I start doing the stupid shit where you get out and you get in the little cars that would drift. Like they can't do anything to help you stop the bomb, but they're just so much fun to throw around the map. And, yeah, it was great.
I was a bad kid on Christmas. I snuck into my parents' room when they bought a Strider for the Genesis and Super Ghouls and Ghosts for the Super Nintendo. They were getting those for me for Christmas, and I went and opened the packages with a razor, took the games out, went and took them into my room and played them like 4 days before Christmas. I'm like, yeah, this is amazing. I'm like, oh, I got to sneak back in the room.
I remember
What a
getting
bastard.
I got my N64. I had Super Mario 64 and loads of other games, like I said, and Blast Cups and stuff. I remember Christmas Day just being sat back, playing my N64 with Super Mario on and Cher, Believe in Love After Love, playing on repeat. Because I got that single for Christmas as well. I just had the one song playing on repeat all day, playing Mario on my TV, and I was like, this is it. This is, it doesn't get much better than this.
This is the
Little did I
best
know.
of life. This is life's
I
best
know.
moment.
Cher is the best. Super Mario book on my TV in 3D. I mean, what more do you need in life,
My low point
Yeah.
was Sega CD and Sewer Shark. Thank you very much. Yeah. It's like, oh, what the fuck am I playing? I paid how much for the system? What the Sonic CD. Let's put that back in. That makes me feel better.
Yeah,
I
the,
love
Se-
my
the
Mac.
Sega CD was kind of one that it was a system that people. It had some games, but there were a lot of games that were misses.
Yeah. Oh no, it did. No, I mean, what was it? Night Trap was actually fun, but I felt like I was playing a pseudo porno game. Like, what the fuck is this game? Who is in
Yeah.
this? It was weird and it was grainy and terrible, but Sonic CD, and there were a couple of games that came out for it that were actually fucking awesome. And then the weird thing at the time, I mean, it's just a different age when you're sitting there playing a game and you hear voices in the game and they talk and you see full motion video, which just is basically full motion video like cartoons or animes, and you're like, oh my god, it's amazing! Look, they're talking. And it just, as a kid, you're like, oh, they're actually doing something that games never would do before. And it's just because it's on the CD. And that was it.
Yeah.
And blew your mind. You're like, wow, it's amazing. And that's what really sold it. And then after that, it just kind of lost its luster pretty quickly.
Well, and it's because Sega just didn't give it enough room to breathe, and that seemed to be always their kind of Achilles heel. Is like they would release a console that had the potential to be great, but they just wouldn't give it enough time to breathe. Because right after the
32X, hey, we got a 32X. There you go, 32X.
Yeah.
Hey, if you plug your 32X into your Sega CD, you have Sega CD 32X and 30. And
yes,
how many?
And then the Saturn after that.
I had that.
Oh, I had Saturn. Yeah.
Well, and the problem was with the Saturn is the same day it was available for sale, they were announcing it at E3, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, it's available for sale," and all the retailers were like, "What the fuck, guy? Are you serious?"
No,
because they had no idea it was in.
I was at that E3 too. I was at the Sega booth when they announced it. I'm like, "Oh my god, we got to get home and buy this."
Well, but then you go to these retailers and they're like, I don't know if we have this or not. And it's like, you don't want that. You don't want retailers to be in that fucking position.
No.
Because then they have to dig through the shipment that they just got and figure out whether they actually have a new Sega system. And a lot of these people back then didn't play video games. So Sega CD, Sega Saturn, they're not going to know that shit, Well,
the
whole thing was just...
Well, it was kind of it was a limited release. It was kind of a publicity stunt. It was available, but it was available at certain places. And one of the places, I lived in the Bay Area at the time, and one of the places was the San Francisco Bay Area, LA, New York, Chicago. There were a few places that had it, and then within a week, it was basically everywhere else. But they had it there. I went back. I ended up buying it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is so amazing!"
That's one of those. Yeah. That's one of those consoles that I've never owned that I really want, because it had some really great titles.
It's a good console. It's different. It's aged pretty well, but definitely the Dreamcast is a step above, obviously.
Yeah.
The Dreamcast is the superior. Fantastic. That's a great console. One of my favorites of all time.
Yeah, and the Dreamcast was ahead of its time, and I think I think if Sega would have really put their muscle behind it and supported it, it would have given the PS2 and the original Xbox a hell of a run for their money,
I think it was okay, but the problem was they had bled themselves so dry.
Yeah.
Because of the Saturn. The Saturn had cost so much. And it also pissed a lot of developers off because when they put the Saturn together, they were like, hey, let's take this piece and put them together. They don't work. Fuck it. They'll just make it work. And they'll tell them it'll work if they just work hard enough and they could get it to work. But it was a clusterfuck to try to develop for. And because of that, it caused a lot of strife with the third parties. And they were kind of like, I don't know, man, this is pretty rough. And they had some people that they were convinced. And then when they brought the Dreamcast out, Dreamcast was a very well-designed system that was very much easier to program for. But they were struggling to get people in because people were kind of burned a little bit by it. And
EA dropped it, didn't they? Same with GameCube.
Sony had also had created the market share with PlayStation. They've created this name. And so everybody's like, no, PlayStation, that's where it's at. And Dreamcast is like... If the Dreamcast would have come out first when the Saturn, I don't know if the console war would have ended the same way. If they had focused on something like the Dreamcast first, or waited longer and brought the Dreamcast out a little bit before the PS2, they might have smoked them. They might have been like, "Hey, check this out," and it would have been like, "Oh my god, what a great console!" And let the Genesis just kind of linger for a while, and just done that. 32X, good enough. Leave it. Don't make another system. Let's get the Dreamcast out. But yeah.
Well, and I mean, it's because back in the late 90s, they were developing this technology to go into these new consoles so fast. They weren't really giving developers time to get used to this type of shit. And it's like with Nintendo, they had the Nintendo 64 from what? I want to say 96 through like 2000, something like that, and then they had the GameCube right after,
Yes,
right?
it was 96 to 2000.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, that in my opinion, that's not really enough time. And of course, the GameCube. The biggest complaint people had is that you had the Xbox that could play CDs, you have the PS2 that can play CDs and DVDs, and the GameCube can't.
Yeah, the GameCube was a bad decision in that regard. It's a game console only, unless you buy one from Japan made by Panasonic that's a DVD player.
Yeah,
that they did make, but that was like twice the price.
And you know, it kind of felt like Sega was suffering. Of course, they went out of business as far as a console maker goes, and then Nintendo was suffering, you know, from certain aspects, but from others, like the quality of the games for the GameCube was actually pretty good.
Yeah,
but
really
it just felt like they knew they needed something like the Wii to really get their brand on top, you know, and it did. It did.
Well, yeah, EA dropped them, didn't they? They dropped support for the GameCube, so all the FIFAs, all the Need for Speeds, which were huge at the time, just went. So
they dropped it, and then they brought it back with the Wii. The Wii brought all of that back because they were like, "Oh my God, look at all these motion controls! Hey, we can make a ton of money on this," and they did. They made a bunch of money again.
Yeah, and of course Xbox is looking at what the Wii is doing, and they're like, you know what? We need to capitalize on
we
that.
We could make this too. Connect, baby.
Oh, yes,
Connect was huge. It's a flop now. I think what people hate about it is that the Xbox One came with it bundled in, and you had to have it, and it pushed the price up, and it made the console less powerful because they were spending money on the camera. If they'd have just done it as, right, here's your Xbox One, it was more powerful and cheaper, and then you can also buy the Connect 2, and all your Connect 1 games work with it, etc. And you can now experience the better Connect games. People would be a lot more accepting of it, other than, this is coming, and it doesn't work unless it's plugged in, which is obviously a lie. Trying to tell gamers and people who back in the day when people might have fallen for it, but trying to tell people who know about games and have grown up with games that unless you plug this camera in, the console won't switch on. It's like, you're making it like that. That's not a thing, you know?
Xbox, power off.
But the thing is, they then did patch it. So you didn't need to plug it in. So it proved it was right all along. They were just lying to people, hoping they would buy it. Oh, yeah, it doesn't turn on unless it's plugged in. It's like, I'm pretty sure it will.
Yeah, there was a lot of problems with the Xbox One launch and the entire insanity they did. They created so much bad faith in people. They were like, ugh.
Well, you know, and the Xbox One show with Don Matrick, I know people in the UK, they don't understand this, but American people understand this. It's like a football. You know, you're throwing it to your wide receiver, and the other team catches it and runs it for a touchdown, and you're like, God damn it, that's exactly what happened.
Oh yeah, that was an interception. You were like,
"Yep."
Did you guys just do?
That was a hell of an interception, and they ran it back for the touchdown, and Xbox couldn't recover for the rest of the time. I was like, "Oh Jesus!"
Well, what was the best about that is when you look into the details of it, is Sony was going to do the same fucking thing. They were going to do the same thing, and when they watched the reaction, well, we're not doing that. Hey, I got an idea. Let's hand a disc to each other and really fuck them. I'm like, oh my God, it was funny. I was like, oh jeez, it was terrible, but it did slap in the face. One of the last times Sony really came out with something that was actually really tongue in cheek and good. It was.
I think some of the ideas they came out with for the Xbox One at the time when they announced it were really good, but they kind of threw their toys out the pram and said, well, if you don't want this, the whole thing's gone. Like they were doing they said, oh, you could set up a group of you and 6 friends. It would be 7 gamer tags could link together. And if you bought 1 copy of a game, 2 of you could play it at any point. If you bought 2 copies of a game, 4 of you could play it. And stuff like that. And the original license holder would always take priority. So if he came on and there wasn't enough licenses going around, it would boot someone else.
Bounce everybody out. Get out of there.
But it would encourage, like they were saying, the reason it would do it is it would encourage more people to buy the game because you and your friends would be trying it. And then if you couldn't get on all the time, you'd be like, oh, me and another friend will go.
No, that's actually kind of a cool idea. Yeah.
But they threw that out. And then what we're getting instead now is almost the same thing now with the Xbox Game Pass Family and Friends plan, which is slowly going country by country on a worldwide tour. Like
roll it out worldwide. I do not understand this slow-ass rollout. Well, it's so technically difficult. We just don't know what we're doing.
I'm jealous of you guys in Europe. You guys already have it, and I'm like, God damn it! Why
we don't have it here in the UK? They have it in Ireland and Portugal and Spain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Great gaming communities. You know?
Wait! I thought the Ireland was in UK. Wait, let me see.
No, Northern Ireland is in the UK.
Oh, I see. Okay.
The Irish
Right.
don't like it when you call them British or tell them that in the UK. They do not like that.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
Northern Ireland don't like being called Irish either. I've learned.
Very true.
Wow.
Unless it's for the rugby, where they play as one team. They play as Ireland.
Yes.
But when they're at home, they have two anthems.
Wow. Very interesting. See, I learned something today. There you go.
And if
Nice.
it's
Yeah,
tomorrow,
it's
you'd
pretty
learn about some corned beef too, lad.
They have very different accents as well. Because the one you always see on American TV, the drunk, jovial, happy accent is Ireland, whereas Northern Ireland is the
Oh, don't you love that? Isn't that grand,
The
lad?
one-
Oh. Yeah.
that's Ireland, and then
Yeah,
you have
that's
the
Ireland.
very stern accent, which is Northern Ireland. This very intimidating Irish accent. Yeah.
The ones that you hear, that you see in mob movies, in Irish mob movies. Or
Normally from County Armagh, and they
Yeah.
speak like that. But yeah,
Oh,
it's like,
anybody
okay.
that's from the IRA
Yeah,
in the films, that'd be
Right.
Northern.
Yeah. Scottish people are British and UK. However, they keep trying to be independent. They love an indie ref whenever they can. And they just keep missing by a little bit now. And the Welsh as well. We don't really like the English. So, well,
Yeah.
we like them. Basically, the way Europe works is you have England, and then every country around it dislikes them. And that's pretty
In
much
their own special way.
for different reasons. Yeah,
yeah.
But yeah, I don't. But if anyone English watches, I don't dislike England. But as soon as a sport comes on, everybody in Europe
Everybody hates
supports
their
their own
guts.
country and whoever's playing England. So if you're watching rugby, for example, everyone supports their own country and the team playing against England. That's your team for that weekend. It's a really bizarre thing, but everyone does it. So yeah, my Scottish
that's
friends, Irish, French. I could go to France and they were spitting on the floor when they were talking about the English. I was like, Jesus, man, you really don't like them. You guys take it to another level.
Wow.
Hey man, you guys screwed yourself in World War II. It was the Vichy French. They're the ones that gave up, but we helped you. Okay.
Right.
Good God, you
it's
hate the
amazing.
Americans and English evenly. I don't understand you people.
Right.
Assholes. I don't understand.
Nice people, the French. Nice people.
Oh, they can be. They can be when they want to be.
Oh, they like the Welsh anyway. They like English. No, Pays de Galles. Yeah, hey, Pays de Galles.
French Canadians, maybe not so much. I'm telling you. I don't know.
Oh, you're one of the colonists. Yeah,
So are you, buddy.
yeah. Once upon a time, you walked and settled in France. Okay. Yeah,
Oh,
crazy. Speaking of France, apart from Ubisoft, who have they got left making games? And
I don't know.
they've done it.
Supposedly, Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still in the works.
Yeah.
I swear to God, we're still making it. Really?
It's amazing. They keep going like, "Oh, we've got 8 games we've cancelled. Now Beyond Good and Evil's done it. Oh no, that wasn't one of them.
Oh, no, that wasn't
what
one of
the hell
them.
did you cancel?
Yeah, what did you cancel?
Whole bunch of games as a service. Yeah.
Did they cancel Watch Dogs
Game.
4 or something? I mean, what the?
I'm pretty sure that one's shelved after Legion.
I love that games as a service is slowly starting to collapse in on itself. Apart from a few, we've reached saturation. So
I
there's a
think-
few
yeah.
that I think you're going to stick around for a long time. Your Fortnite, your War Zones, and stuff. But
Yeah.
a lot of other games are trying, and it's done. The market's done. But this is the time PlayStation's gone. We're making 12. We're going to make 12 live service games. It's like, yeah, you've just missed the boat slightly, I feel, but we'll see. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, well, the PlayStation crowd is going to buy it anyway. They're going to be like, "We're selling you games as a service games, and they're $100 each," and they'll be like, "Yeah, give it to us." It's like, "Are you serious?"
Oh God, let's just not bring that up, okay? You want to know how much I've spent on Destiny over the years? Jesus.
No, it's fine. I get it. Well, Destiny, you know what though? Like you said though, Destiny is a good franchise, and they've supported it well. So
Yeah,
no
they've
judgment.
supported
No
it well.
judgment.
They've supported it well, but the all of the different packs you get, and then you buy them all, and like 2 years after you get the game, they release them all in one edition for $49, and you're like, "Fuck you, fuck you!" Do you know how much I spent for all that shit? Are you kidding
Yeah.
me? $49? Yeah,
Yeah,
It was.
I bought the collection for Destiny 1 for like $40. Yeah.
Yeah, and I bought the collection for Destiny 1 for like $380
Jesus.
because it was
I mean-
$29 per release, per pack, per per edition, per DLC. $30 each.
Insane.
On top of this $70 or $60 game. So I'm like, dude, yeah, I was a little upset. So was everybody else. They were like, why are you selling for $49? We want to bring more people in. It's like 6 months from Destiny 2. What are you doing?
Well, you know,
dropping set like £5-6 on a skin now and then. Even when I do it with my reward points, so I'm not even really spending money. I spend all my reward points on the Halo Season Battle Pass when it comes out, and my Fortnite skins. But I'm at the stage now where I've got 99 skins, and there's only 100 slots. So my next one, after that, I'm going to have to start retiring some previous. Yeah, I have to go through and be like, I've got 3 Ryu skins that are slightly different. One of you's got to go. And then,
Destiny was the same way. You have like all these. You have only so much room in your vault that you can store your stuff in. And Jesus, vault. Going through your vault is like half of the time you spend in Destiny because you get all these rewards from doing things, and you're constantly just delete, get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. And the problem is you have to go one. I don't even know if they made it now. I don't think you can select multiple, but you still have to go like one at a time and then delete one at a time. You're like, dude, this is gonna take forever. I got like 600 items in here, and I want to get rid of like 100. It's gonna take me forever. It's like deleting emails from Proton Mail. That's just my thing. It frustrates me.
I don't get why they put like a cap on of 100. You can only have 100 presets. Like, surely that's just you find the code where it says /100 and you just go 2 or 3 or something like that.
Or
so
1,000. Yeah. Well, server space is one that somebody told me, like with Destiny, they had it was capped at like I think it was 400 or 500, and they raised it by another 100 recently, or with like a couple years ago, and I'm like, really? You couldn't have doubled it? Come on! But
one thing they do that I really like though, and Halo needs to do this because it drives me fucking mad. They have a shuffle button, so when you go into your thing and you've got your 100 skins now that I've got 99, you press the right trigger and it enables shuffle, and that means every game it just puts a different skin out and the different music and load screen that I have to each character. Cool. It changes every single game. Then in Halo Infinite with this 7 armor cores or whatever they got now, it doesn't do that. You pick one. And then if you want to go in and edit it, you can't be launched, or you can, they fixed it now. You can edit your Spartan whilst you're searching for a game now, because they never used to let you. But you can't change cores once you've hit start. But they should just bring in a shuffle, so it shuffles between your different Spartans whilst you're playing different games. That'd be really cool.
That brings something up that I've noticed with like Monster Hunter Rise, especially now because it's on the SSD and it's been optimized incredibly. So to put it into perspective, Monster Hunter World, when it would load, it would take about 20 to 30 seconds for it to load the game, and it would do this screen. It would show the little thing turning, and then it would load the game eventually. Now, I swear to God, I hit the button 2 seconds. Within less than 2 seconds, the game is loaded. I'm like, what the fuck? It's fast. So, but Destiny, what they did was the loading screens were pretty rough. They were going. A lot of people would complain about seeing your ship flying in space to go into the wherever you're going. It would sit there forever. But they were brilliant with what they did, and other people need to think about what they did and do it in every game. Every game needs to incorporate this. You can go in and change your loadout all the time. The whole time you're waiting, you can go ahead and change everything. You see what you're doing. Check. You can change all the skins. You can do anything you want to do in the loading screen. And it's amazing, whether it's loading the game, whether it's loading the level, whatever, you can do it in that time downtime. And you can turn it on. It's amazing. And then they finally, and one of my buddies wouldn't do it, they created an app, which I still think is probably one of the best apps for a game, is the Destiny app would allow you to get loadouts, to do your loadouts while you're in a raid where you can't leave and go out to your, to do things. You could actually load different weapons in from your vault. You can get in and out of it on your phone. You go, tip, 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 done. Okay, I got all my stuff. And you could do things in the game, and it was live. And actually, I want to say Division did that as well, but I can't remember. One of the games did that too. But it's just it was a brilliant feature, and it should be in most games. You should have an app that they make, that they support, that lets you utilize those things. It's pretty sweet. But anyway, just opinion.
Yeah, you used to be able to do it on Halo 5. You had to go onto the website to do it, and you could customize your button. And again, it's one of those things but I have a phone in my hand. Why not put it on an app?
Put it on an app. Yeah, make it done. It's simple.
Especially when Xbox used to be rocking the whole smart glass thing and the dual screening, and they were showing the adverts. We'd be watching Game of Thrones, but it'd show you on the map where that was taking place and give you things. They were all about dual screening. That's the future, and then all their
did
games
it for
like,
entertainment. Yeah,
you don't need
they
it.
did it for entertainment, but they didn't do it for the games, which actually makes far more sense. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I
imagine
don't
having
know,
your inventory stuff on your phone underneath you, and you're like, oh, there we go.
Yep.
Instead of having to stop the game.
yeah, it made it great.
If only they thought of these things. These people who make games thought about how they could use their things for games. You know, crazy time.
Well, I mean, some people have, and some people will utilize it, but it blows my mind why they don't. Now, as much as I like Bungie and everything they've done, and they have created a ton of content for the Destiny franchise, they've really done nothing else. they've done nothing else but Destiny since 2014. It's just been Destiny, and that's one thing I can say they made a lot more, and they've done more. It's more diverse than, say, Grand Theft Auto 5 per se.
Yeah,
but it's still in that same vein of, hey, don't you guys have other things you can do? Don't you have other ideas?
Well, how many devs does Bungie have?
I can't. How many workers do they have working for them?
Yeah.
There's a good question.
When you say that though, because they went to do Destiny because they were fed up of just doing Halo all the time. So they spent all that time doing nothing but Halo, and they were like, "No, we don't want to be like this. We want to spread our wings." And then what they meant was they want to go do Destiny.
They made Destiny our new Halo.
Yeah. Well, because you look at Insomniac, and they have 2,000 people or some shit, and so they're making mostly Spider-Man games. Now they're tackling a Wolverine project, but it's like, I mean, is Bungie comparable? Because if Bungie's comparable,
600, it looks like 600 employees.
Okay, well there you go. I mean, it's like they may not have. Yeah, they may not have enough people to focus on anything other than Destiny if they're trying to maintain the franchise.
Yeah,
also,
well, how many?
Are they making a Destiny 3 though? You know, are they making a Destiny 3?
That's a good question. How many? Let me see. Bethesda Game Studios operates 3 satellite studios, 1 in Montreal, and 2 in Texas, and employs 420 employees.
Now, is that Bethesda Softworks?
As of March 2021, but that doesn't include when they. Well, that's of March 2021.
Yeah.
So
the axe.
it doesn't include the Xbox, the inclusion of all the other studios that have come in to help them too, like having ID Soft come in and say, which is part of them too, though, is at the same time, come in and say, hey, we'll help you with your gunplay since you guys don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, and it's like
that was for Redfall. That was for Redfall, but yeah.
Well, I love the gunplay from Fallout 4, and it's like I want to go back and play Fallout 3 in New Vegas, but people are like, no, that was the old gunplay, and then I'm like, well, fuck, I'm not going to go back and play it because the gunplay was horrible. You know, I played Fallout 3 before, and I hate the gunplay, and I was skeptical about Fallout 4 when I first heard about it because it's like, I've played Fallout 3, and the gunplay was horrible. But then they said, they had id Software come in, and I'm like, well, id makes Doom, and they know what the fuck they're doing, so that's what drew me to Fallout, and the gunplay is great, so... All these people saying, we need a New Vegas, remake. Yes, as long as you have id Software rework the horrible fucking shooting mechanics. And that's fine, Yeah, because they didn't know what the hell they were doing.
I think Darth touched on it earlier when he was talking about modern gaming and AAA games. We have Death's Door made by 2 people or whatever it was, and then you got 6 people making Grounded, and these just amazing, well-polished games don't really have many bugs and have loads of contents and stuff, and then you get these studios that are hundreds and hundreds or thousands of people, and they just release games that are broke immediately the day they come out, and they spend so much time trying to fix it. But the storefront always works. The store is never broken. I remember when Halo Infinite Big Team Battle went down, and it was down for 14 days, and other modes went down. The store broke once, and it was fixed the same day. And they put it out on Twitter. The store is back up, and it's like, you can fix things immediately when they need to be, but everything else is, it's going to take time. It's not as easy as you think. And
well, it's a free-to-play game. They don't give a shit.
It's all games, even games you pay for. The store always works. The store, DLC, microtransactions, never launch it broke. It's there, it works day one. Everything else, it might not.
Hey, since we've been talking about a lot of retro stuff, I know, I don't know if I've mentioned it in some other podcasts, but I had a buddy of mine that I met through Twitter and he's created a kind of a love letter to a 90s style Sega arcade games in a way. And he's an indie developer in the UK. He's so man, darn, I can't remember where he lives. He lives in the south by the ocean. But his name is he's at Roz Bozzy, and he's got a game. I did the voice work for the menu systems.
Awesome.
So
Nice.
if
Check that out.
yeah, if
Does
you
he
go in
live
there,
down by south by the ocean on the south
damn it,
coast?
I'm an idiot. I know he said
Bournemouth, Southampton, something like that.
He takes pictures of drinking his beers at this pub right off a pier, right looking at the water all the time. I'm like, man. Oh shit, I can't remember where he lived. I'm an idiot.
Western
I'm a
Superman.
damn idiot. He says he lives in England, so there you go, close as it gets.
Yeah, that'll do.
But,
England.
Yeah, there you go. But
South.
no, so he's worked on it. He's coded it. He's got it up and running. He has it runs at a pretty smooth clip. It's got ray tracing if you want it. It's got any and everything you want. It's pretty neat little game that he made. So, but
Nice.
it's like an F1 style racing game. But he's crazy. He's put 1 million tracks in that game. It's awesome. I think he just put some stunt tracks in too, like a loop to loop. So it's crazy. He's like, I'm gonna keep doing it, making more tracks.
Uso Vinny has managed to lock himself out of his Twitter account, so he
What?
can no longer access the link for the show. So we'll get him on next time. And if he did
locked
join now,
himself
he'd
out?
be here. He'd be here just in time to hear us sign off in a couple of minutes. So maybe we'll get him on the next one.
Oh, poor guy. We
That
missed
sucks.
you, man. Damn it.
Oh well. I think we've done okay, the three of us. First show, waffled on for an hour and a half about no topics really,
Yeah.
Beautiful.
just gaming. It's beautiful.
Just
Kratos
fun.
staring at me the whole time.
That's good stuff.
I think we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for joining us, Dav. It's been
Well,
great to have you as usual.
It's been great being had again.
Whenever you want, darling. Where can people find you other than in the menus of an upcoming indie game?
Well, right there on the screen. At Praxis Darth on Twitter. That's where I kind of hang out and goof off. And then Darth Praxis on Xbox is where I hang out when I'm playing. Which this last week I haven't been playing at all. I've been resting because I'm working too damn much. I got to stop that crap.
And Sentinel, where can people find you?
Aside from on the PSN Party Podcast Wednesdays, this channel it's 2:30 Central Standard Time, and Xbox Live Party Podcast Thursdays, 2:00 Central Standard Time, or is it 3:00? I don't remember. Watch the channel, put your notifications on. You'll get a notification. How about that? I'm also on Twitch, same handle, SSG Sentinel, and of course Twitter, same thing, SSG Sentinel. I tweet a hell of a lot. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, but that's the way shit works, I guess. It's all good.
And of course, people can sometimes find you propping up a tire, as seen in your profile picture.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's very comfortable.
Best place to find you. Yeah. So we're going to be back again in a fortnight, which is... I watched a thing the other day that apparently a lot of Americans don't know what a fortnight is. Like, not the game, the actual term, a fortnight.
Yeah.
And they were asking, but these were professional gamers. They were asking them at like competitions. They didn't have a clue what it meant. You guys know what a fortnight is, yeah?
2 weeks.
Yeah. 14
Fantastic.
days.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, every fortnight. So we're going to be back in a fortnight. And then we'll try and keep the show going every other week. If I'm not able to make it, Sentinel will be here to carry it for me.
That's right. And carry it well, I will. That's right.
He's a good bastard, he is.
Yeah. It'll be more professional if he carries it, if anything.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth?
Speaking of professionalism, we have no outro video either. So what I'm going to do is leave with one of my favourite videos from Gaming Room 101, because why not?
There you go.
I can't put one that swears on, though, because otherwise Ash will tell me off. We'll go with this one. It's a nice little jaunt, and then we'll end the show. Thanks for watching, all.
Well, thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Ta-ta.
Thank you.